It's 9:41 Thursday, July 28th. This is going to be a video deposition as to why Ford Motor Company owes me millions of dollars. I began sending them ideas from when I was being held illegally in prison back in the late 80s. I get ideas and I go ahead and I'd send it to all the car companies really, but so, I just before I got paroled in 91, that was the first time they paroled me. I get called into the office by the resident unit manager. He's, you know, Mr. Herbert, are you writing somebody at the Ford Motor Company? And I said, yeah, why? Because they hadn't answered. It was Etzel Ford II. I said, and I told them the Mercury Cyclone. Let's resurrect the Mercury Cyclone with a natural gas engine. Okay. 120 octane. We're talking 14-to-1 compression and all the whole shot, baby. And I'm a pretty well thought out proposal, right? And he don't answer me. So I figure he's busy. So I go ahead and I write a more expanding on it and stuff. I'm totally honest about I'm being legally held in prison. And that's what they do. It's one of his staff called the Michigan Department of Corrections to complain about an inmate writing them. Because the last letter I sent, I was getting pissed. Why the hell you doing that? You can't nothing, type thing. And so they complained to the Department of Corrections instead of write me and tell me, hey, we're not interested. Stop bugging us. They complained to the Michigan Department of Corrections. Okay. Now I started to go off because That's why I did 32 years in prison because I go off on them. I'm telling you because why if they had a problem, why didn't they write me and tell me? You know. So he said, "Don't worry, it's not going to affect your parole. They just want you to stop writing." Well, they could have wrote me and told me that. You see, but instead they complained to the Michigan Department of Corrections. So I paroled in '91, August of '91. One of the first things I did was I started my business. You see my business card? Same thing. In 1991, I had printed printers in Dearborn. Okay. And the network logo thing, that was another a Latina in Detroit at a printing office in Detroit down in the neighborhood on Verner. Yeah, she's the one who came up with the idea for the network logos back in 2013 or something. Yeah. But so I'm out there and, I things go back and forth. I'm doing well, I'm doing bad, doing well, doing bad. And it's 93. I've been living a couple blocks from the Dearborn City Hall since October of 92, I think it was. I got in there. A room in an upper flat. There's other people in there. It's a drag, but it's the best I can do. And so I'm doing volunteer work at the City Hall, the fourth floor of the Arts Council. I'm doing volunteer work there. And, I'm going back and forth back to the house. And I would pass by this building on the corner of Michigan and Schaefer because the City Hall is on Michigan, right on the corner of Michigan and Schaefer. This building was kitty corner to it. Looked like something that would have been an old Hudson's back in the day. So I keep going by this building and I'm getting funny twinges, because I'm looking the big, it's got a big first floor, 30 foot ceiling, and it's got all white on the windows. So I figured, well, it might be big. So I go to this, to the down at a different floor in the city hall, and there's this young black girl working in deeds and whatever it is. And I said, who owns the Schaefer building across the street? She said, I'll find out. And so she comes back, she says, Ford Motor Land Development owns it. And I'm thinking, I got all this stuff I've been sending Ford these years. They're gonna be damn familiar with me, right? So I walk down from there. I walked for 27 years. I bought that Taurus wagon to get out of Spokane. I had walked for 27 years. But I go and I got my business cards and so I could call Ford Motor Land Development. I said, hey, you got a building over here. Yeah, it apparently is vacant. It's a Schaefer building on Michigan and Schaefer here. So I said, I got a client who's interested in it. Now, this is all coming off the top of my head. The client was me, the other part of me. And so can I see the inside? He said, well, sure. We arrange a time for someone to meet me there. And I met by this James Woods, I think his name was, leasing specialist. So I had sat there and spoke to the heirs. They're giving me weed $100 an ounce. And this is 93, right? But it's not really good. So I got to smoke a couple of pens. And so this guy shows up, James Woods, I think. I'm almost sure his name was. And so he takes me in there, and I'm telling you, man, it's just like I had a vision. I seen it all, and it come right off the top of my head. I described how we could turn this into a Ford Motorsport retail outlet combined with an all-ages dance club. We could have kiosks with different items, that are available for them at the Ford dealer and parts. That's where all the stuff is. You see, so they have to go there to get it. We might take their money here, but let them go there to get it, and then that gets them involved with the Ford dealer, right? This stuff is coming right off the top of my head, and I forgot to mention I had one of them Panasonic hand recorders, the state of the art in '93, right, or '91 when I got it. But I go there and I had shown them it when I come in, and I had it going, and I was also I have no thought about the recorder. This stuff is just flowing out my mind. I'm just talking, describing the different. I said we'd have big screens around, showing for promotional films and stuff like that, and the drink, no cover. We wanted to spend money on car stuff. You got to remember this is '93. The Mustang GT was a big thing. The 50 was a big thing. You see, because it was cheap and a lot of people were buying. So there's all kinds of stuff we can do, and I'm giving it all to them. And at the end of it, I pop the mini cassette out of the recorder and I hand it to him. I said, here, play this for your bosses and give me a call. This business card, I said, the phone number is, I don't have a phone anymore, and I'm not living at that address, but I'll contact you, okay? So I give him this mini cassette without thinking about all the other. It's like a 120 thing, 90 minutes or whatever it is. It's got all kinds of stuff. Ideas just pop into my head, right? So I hand him this mini cassette, and I go wandering off, and I'm telling you that this is when I started to figure out God, because I left there. Where did that idea come from? You know what I mean? Oh, you can see traces of things I've done over the years in the idea. Because I used to rent halls and get a band in and let everybody in for a couple bucks and, drink pot and stuff. I used to do that. And it wasn't my idea either. It was my girlfriend's idea. She did it first, in fact. But, so it just come right out time. Well, I walked away from there in a daze. I'm thinking, where did that idea come from? Ask yourself, where do ideas come from? Where do impulses come from? Huh? And I've always been a person to notice things, even when I was a little kid. I was always checking things, trying to figure it out. That was it. And from then on, I've just kept working on that idea and all that stuff. But, well, apparently, the only thing I can figure out is that they had my card, and so They listen to the recording. They're real interested in this thing, man. Hey, this is some good stuff. And they don't have their only thing they could do was turn it over to Ford Security. Find this guy, right? Well, Ford Security, no problem. Ford Security, I mean, they've been rated on the level of FBI action. I mean, they're really good, right? They hire pros because of the Ford family involved. So they tap my name into the computer, and I'm red flagged because of the letters to Ethel Ford II that they complained about. See? Well, if you know anything about Dearborn police and Ford Security, they're like hip to hip. So somebody from Ford Security, not knowing anything else, calls Dearborn chief of police. Okay, this is a theory, and I bet you it's true. I bet you I'm right. Okay, he calls the Dearborn police, and he says, "Listen, you got this guy Herbert over there, such and such. They know Herbert's, yeah, because my brother shot a deputy chief in a B&E years ago. I hate my brother. They don't want. I don't want to connect me with him, but that's what they're doing. Okay, so they say this guy Herbert. He's on parole. He's trying to get in with Ford Motor Land Development, and I think Ethel Ford might have been CEO of it or something like that at that point. Man, a couple of days later, the Dearborn police over totally fabricated a wild, me threatening little kids, and it was ridiculous the things we were saying, and got me committed to a mental hospital. You see, so I get in the mental hospital and I read what they said. Oh no, no. And they're forcing me to take medication. That's automatic when you get committed like that. You're gonna put a needle in you, and I made them put a needle in me, And so I am, I'm all talking about. We're gonna, yeah, you can't force you. I'm gonna sue you for forcing me to take medication, you know. And they so wanted to, they so wanted to talk to me because and some of them I talked to, I let out the brilliance, you see. So but I'm driving them nuts. So they called the Department of Corrections to come get this guy. So they went ahead and they violated me for what I did while qualified doctors were going to testify at my competency hearing. I was mentally ill. Yeah, think about it. Okay, so I go ahead and I they violated my. I'm back in prison for what they say I done. While qualified doctors were going to testify, I was mentally ill. Their whole the mental hospital turned me over to. I ended up 16 and a half years before they paroled me again. 16 and a half years. I couldn't afford a cigarette. Okay? So I finally, they paroled me in 11 for about 45 days before they lied and put me back in prison. Paroled me again in 13 or 12, was it? I don't know. I had two 45 something, 40 something day paroles. Lied to put me in. Oh, yeah. But the thing is, Ford Motor Company caused all this, literally. Yeah, Ethel Ford II staff caused the whole thing to fall apart. Simple as that. Simple as that. because the idea was great. Ford, well, I could have capitalized the hell out of it, for Ford Motor Company, and because of what Ethel Ford II's staff did, it killed it all and caused me to be put back in prison illegally again, continuing the same illegal detention for 16 and a half years. All right? Well, I've been out since 13. The last parole, and when they paroled me in 13, they were starting to get wind of what I was doing, what I was building in my mind. You know what? They paroled me to a furnished apartment a couple blocks down the street from the hospital I was born in Detroit. Yeah. So, and back in the old neighborhood, I was back in the old neighborhood again. So they knew what they were doing. On my 30 years in prison, I never even got a fight with an inmate. Everybody left, pretty much left. I went into prison. The Arabs were calling people saying, "Hey, we like this guy." Yeah, they had inducted me into the Muslim mosque there in Dearborn. Yeah, yeah. Having square allegiance and everything. Yeah, and I've always been respectful of them. They got some good ideas. But matter of fact, I used to say I was a modern Muhammad, coming with a higher God, a real God. That's all you got. That's all the Holy Bible is, a big fake God to control you people to get your money. All right? That's why, you know, God co-signs you every US dollar. Yeah, their God co-signs it. But the God agreed. Capitalism is greed. Simple as that. Well, I know. But that's it. Yeah. But hopefully some lawyer will sit through enough of this to want to talk more about this. Yeah, because that's what this was, a video deposition of why Ford Motor Company owes me millions of dollars.